Game 2 here of Hwasin versus Hyvaa. It's been an interesting first game here. I gotta think that Hyvaa has a lot of potential, but he needs to work on his improvisation. He needs to work on figuring out what his opponent does. I mean, mainly I think it has to do with his relative inexperience. He's played 70 pro games so far, but that's really just getting started. It's past the noob stage, but it's getting started for a pro player. And I think once he matures, he does have a shot of moving up in the ranks. As we saw before, for those who don't remember, Hyvaa versus Flash, Hyvaa really created a new build by going for, if I remember correctly, a decoy Spire, making the opponent think he's going to go for a standard 3-hatch Mutalisk build, and then hiding a Hydralisk den somewhere, building a fast pair of Evolution Chambers, and then getting Queens within Snare, and then eventually getting a fast Hive. So his mid-game force is basically Lurker, Ling, Ensnare, and he used that perfectly to kill off Flash's initial M&M pushes, completely surprised Flash, but eventually he just could not finish the game off. I think just relatively poor scouting, relatively poor control, I guess, or not necessarily poor control, but poor judgment, I guess, poor tactics. As we saw in last game, I think he really needed to scout better, or at least to think better, because while he probably couldn't have gotten an easy scout out, I think he could have figured out that Hwasin was not going to go for mass M&M. He didn't need to build all those sunken colonies. And I think he could have certainly scouted out the M&M build earlier on with just one Ling, instead of sending his early 3 Hydralisks, which was an important force, sending them in to die to a handful of M&M in the beginning. So, you know, I think certainly Hwasin was able to follow up on what was mainly an unsuccessful rush last game, and pull out the victory. And Hwasin certainly is a very experienced player. He's played over 300 games total. And like I said before, he's one of the best TVZ players out there. Even though he hasn't performed spectacularly lately, historically he's been very good. And he was very good during the era of SK Terran builds, M&M builds. He was very good, for example, in splitting his Marines against Lurkers. Really up there with the control of, say, Isle of Uv in terms of M&M. And that's why I was so surprised last season in the MSL when By Hero beat him in a best of 3. A very close best of 3, but one where By Hero really showed his chops. So this map is Outsider, by the way, 3-player char map, char tile set, 3 spawn point rather, and we could be seeing a number of different kinds of builds here. I think a fast expand build is viable for both players, because you do have a protected natural, possibly an M&M build. I don't know what those brown bottles are, by the way. They look like medicine. Like, they look like some kind of Robitussin or like Red Stripe Jamaican beer. We've been seeing them in a couple of games. It's like, boo, fantasy build! Hooray, beer! I want to see a Red Stripe build with that. A Red Stripe commercial. A 2-rack's coming from Hwasin here. Boo, not being able to kill your own assimilators. Hooray, beer! That would be awesome if they had that commercial like right after a Hyuk game. So M&M, 2-racks versus a fast gas here coming from Hyvaa. So Hyvaa could be going for fast tech here. I think that's the most likely choice. Against Protoss, it would be most likely Speedlings, but against Terran, usually the fast gas means that it's going to be a 2-hatch Mula build, 2-hatch lair at least, and it's going to be fought against by a fast attack build also from Hwasin. Hwasin's going to be able to put a lot of pressure up here with his M&M, and he's also scouted in the right direction first, which means he's going to spot this fast lair here, and that is definitely going to help him. He's going to be able to figure out that he's going to have a superior force, and that he can pressure Hyvaa quite a lot in the early game. Because Hyvaa does not want to build sunken colonies with this build. He absolutely will want to skimp on sunken colonies, build them bare minimum so he can get out his tech as fast as possible. That's where he's going to pick up his advantage. But look at this, Hwasin already with a number of M&M. He is going to have the stronger early game force. He's going to have an academy up, as we see here. He's going to have Stim, and Hyvaa, of course, went for his his pool first, so he's going to have to rush to build a sunken colony, even to fight off a couple of Marines, just a couple. He's going to need this sunken up. And wow, Hyva's just a standard timing here, 10-12 racks, may actually do some damage against, I'm sorry, Hwasin's might be able to do some damage against Hyva. Hyva's gone for a fast lair, and looks like though Hwasin is going to run back and wait until his M&M are up. Does not want to lose his early force here. And I think it's also because he spotted the sunken going up, of course. So good size force from Hwasin. And we'll see if he decides to expand or if he decides to build up and push. I think build up and push is probably the better option. Hyva right now has gone for a super fast Mutalisk build. And as we see, he has nothing at his natural yet. He is going to be able to get a very early harassment off. However, Hwasin could be able to go for his sunken break that obliterates Hyva at this point. And yeah, this is the window here for Hwasin to go in. Hyva, oh man, he could have expected this with better Ling scouting. I don't know what he was doing with his Ling scouting this game. Same as last game, he was not on top of the game here. I don't think he's going to try to intercept these fire bats, but he has just one sunken colony up front. The sunken colony is easily going to go down, and Hyva, oh god, Hyva is going to lose this game just to bad scouting and bad reactions. Coming back with his Lings, not enough though, not against that kind of M&M force, way enough for Hwasin to pick up a super easy victory. He really didn't deserve this victory in the sense that Hyva should have been able to hold this off. I mean, he should have just built a couple of sunkets, and you could tell it's over for Hyva. I mean, his spirit is broken too. I feel bad for this kid. GG coming from Hyva. That was a very fast end to his OSL run, and it certainly was not easy for him to get to this point. I think he had to go through the entire prelims. He had to go through somebody called Miracle, only get stomped on in 2 fast games against Hwasin, showing his experience, and Hyva showing his real, you know, just he's showing just signs of being good in this series, but really showing his lack of scouting, lack of tactical play this entire series. And you know, I think he's one of those players that needs to mature a little bit before he can you know, win any Star Leagues. But Hwasin is going to move on, see if he can make another run for the for a title. So thank you guys for watching. A short little game here. I think I'm going to cast Lita versus Flash coming up from the Pro League series played recently. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. CholeraSC signing out.